Please.
Sorry.
Hi, Steve.
I apologize, we're still in the 6
Hi,
minute.
Steve. Say what?
You're good.
All right, 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Brookfield Planning Board, May 12th. I'm Ed Ingles, Marshall Goldberg. Here. Stephen Berry.
Here.
Leah Gage.
Yep.
Mark Lofgren is excused. He is going to call in, I believe, and we'll make sure that anybody can hear him, per the rules. Gus Stratton.
Here.
Rich Sacker.
Here.
No alternates. And Leah, anything announcement-wise or mail? Nothing.
No mail or anything groundbreaking, no.
Okay. And the minutes were passed out here from April 14th. Here's Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Ed, how you doing?
Good, good. I got you on speaker here, and we just called the meeting to order, so you're here.
Okay, excellent. I'll put myself on mute, except if I want to talk.
All right, that sounds good. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, just fine.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to remind you that you're going to have to do roll calls since you have somebody, I don't know, that's room if you didn't know that already. You have to do roll calls if you have somebody electronic.
We did. Oh, for vote. Yeah, right.
Steps in the other room, sorry.
But the roll call for the meeting, all set, right? You're not questioning that?
No, I'm questioning that when you take votes, they have
We
to
have a
be.
vote. We have to do a vote. Right, I understand. Okay, so the minutes, Leah passed them out, and I think they were sent electronically. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the minutes from
March 10th.
March 10th, sorry?
No, this isn't the right one. No, it's supposed to be April.
Well, you sent them around electronically.
That was,
I
I make a motion that we pass the minutes, approve the minutes.
second.
Okay, so motion on the table to approve the minutes from April 14th. This is not the copy that was passed out, but it is electronically in your email. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? April 14 minutes are approved.
You're gonna do the roll call vote because Mark's.
Oh, right, sorry. Sorry, just already forgot. Ed Ingles, I approve. Marshall?
Yes.
Stephen Berry?
Yes.
Leah Gage?
Yes.
Mark Lofgren?
Yes.
Gus Stratton?
Yes.
Rich Sacker?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. We don't have any public here except for Ed. Any comments?
I can talk for hours, but not
Very good. All right, so new business, the rules of procedure, we've been talking about just kind of cleaning it up. There's, all things about the bulletin board up Stone Corners, the road, and they had bad office hours in there. There's all kinds of stuff that just needed cleaning up. So I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at it, but there weren't really any substantive changes, I would say. Overall, it's more just making it reality, how it's working now. I'm happy to go through, if you guys don't have it in front of you, or I don't know if you printed it out, or if you have any questions or comments, or we could go through just real quickly and I can note what was changed.
I was just gonna say, there are a couple spots that the formatting has gotten screwed up as far as the numbering goes. When this is a final draft, that will be fixed. I just wanted to get it done for now, and so I skipped over fixing the numbers.
Is everybody okay if I just take 5 minutes and kind of note what the changes were? What are the proposed changes?
Steve, did you want to say?
Yeah, I got one observation in there. We had only the 522 number, and I think there are 7 spots that we should put in 603, 522.
Oh, add in the area code?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's
Yep.
now what New Hampshire requires.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have a 522 area code now?
No, 603,
Oh.
522, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I see.
So I'll just go through quickly. If anybody has any questions, just stop, raise your hand, or yell out. So Leah did 90% of this work. We sat down and kind of went through and said, let's do this or that as we went through it. And then she updated all that stuff we talked about. So the first thing was we just added a website that talks about what the planning board's supposed to do. Seems like that should be in our rules of procedure. It's probably a good thing. If somebody resigns, we just clarified that they should send a letter to the planning board chair with a date on it. Didn't say anything about that. The one thing that's changed is we don't have to, certain meetings do not have to be posted in more than 2 places, and the 2 places are the bulletin board out front here and the website. So we took out Stoneham Corners and added the website wherever that was appropriate. This is more just, next thing was just some capital letters that should have been capital. We also added in several places that, for example, any member unable to attend a meeting should notify either me as chair or the administrative assistant. We did add the administrative assistant to that section. A couple little things where we added an S, they should have been plural. Nothing else big here. Took out something that didn't need to be clarified, that was just redundant. We took out the names of the newspaper, Granite State News or Foster's Daily Democrat, and the way the RSA reads, it just says a newspaper or periodical of general local circulation. So there are certain things like hearings that still need to be published in the newspaper, but who knows if the Grunch is going to be around or whatever. So we just made it more generic. That's a typo. Nothing more about the newspapers. Leah's going to submit a timesheet to the treasurer on a timely basis. As far as site visits, we just clarified that the chair will ask if unaccompanied visits are permitted of the applicant. That's pretty much it there. We changed the meeting time to 6 o'clock on the second Monday. It used to just list a whole bunch of different dates, which was a little crazy because you need to keep the document updated, so it never was. Let's see what else. This was just formatting. Again, we replaced Stoneham bulletin board with town website. We added something about Brookfield's conflict of interest policy under code of conduct. It refers to, maybe being recused from a meeting or what have you, but we just added that we want to see more about that as a conflict of interest policy that the town has. There's an order of business that's listed. This just clarifies that the chair can change the order of business, or a majority of the board can change the order of business. So you don't have to have all these things. It's really just a typical, we use the word typically as follows. And that's kind of following the format here that we have on the agenda. And I think this maybe is a change. I'm not sure where we say on conceptual consultation. Did we add this, that it's not, that it's optional but recommended, or was that in there?
That was in there.
Okay. One thing, this is kind of an aside, and the training thing that I did on Saturday, they mentioned that you can require, if you go to warrant, you can actually have the town require conceptual consultations, which they actually suggested is a good idea. To at least have either that or the design review process ahead of the actual application coming to the planning board. So we might want to think about, when we do warrants, we might want to think about whether we want to do that or not. It's not like we have that many. It's not Concord where you have $50 a month or something, so. Same thing about design review, but I guess that was in there already. I don't know why it's highlighted here, but. Again, we replaced the website with, Stone Corners with the website, changed the name of the newspaper. It's all kind of the same stuff over and over.
So I was gonna question the newspaper part of this.
Yep.
They effectively don't exist, right? So we're gonna say that we're gonna either announce something in a newspaper.
Well, it's only hearings that are required, required to be published. And what they, on the training thing, they said, yeah, that's the way it is. If you don't have a local newspaper, unfortunately, it's expensive, but you have to put it in whatever the Manchester paper is. So for now, we have the Granite State News.
What paper in New Hampshire has the widest circulation?
Union Leader, probably.
My concern is that if we don't specify what newspaper, is that gonna be adequate? Or should we specify where we're gonna put it so people know where to look?
Well, they can always look on the website,
Yes?
and they can always look on the bulletin board.
Yes. And that's not sufficient, that's what you heard at your course.
Not for a hearing, you need to publish it for a hearing. For a meeting, it's fine. You can just put it on the website and out there. But that's a good point. It seems like it's, you know, it's going away from newspapers. They changed the law so that even the meetings don't have to be in there anymore.
That's right.
But I guess for hearings, it's just more widely dispersed that it's upcoming.
Where I'm coming from, I read the rules of procedure, I'm public.
Yep.
Read the rules of procedure, and when I come to the hearing, it doesn't tell me where to look. Some newspaper. Is that legal? That's all I'm saying. Is that legal? Should we say the Foster? Should we say the Granite State? Should we say something?
We could say such as, a newspaper of general circulation in the area such as.
Then they would have to, the public would have to search, they'd have to go to the market or wherever and figure out which newspaper they're going to buy, because there's a lot of them.
That's right. And then they come to a meeting and say, I didn't see the posting.
Right.
Some other towns I've looked at, their ROPs do just say a newspaper of general circulation. It doesn't say anything specific, so could go either way.
That's my concern.
Well, this isn't a finished draft either,
Nope.
so.
We're going to have Laura look at this as well when we're done.
Okay, we should circle that because we don't have a newspaper any longer.
I got it.
Granite State's what, 3 pages, 6 pages, something?
Yeah.
It's
And
a
it
great
doesn't,
periodical. I love it. It's a great periodical.
it takes a minute and a half to read it. It's perfect.
It's good.
Is Concord Monitor a widely read newspaper? Probably not. Never heard.
Neither have I. If it's not on Google News, now you
I've seen it on.
So
when I
New York
ran
Times,
across,
was it running?
They mention it sometimes.
The Waconia Sun, Conway Sun.
I mean, even if it was a specific newspaper, it's pretty hard to find, like, what date, like, was it last week? Was it 2 weeks ago? Was it a month ago that we published it? So, I mean, the easiest way to find this stuff is online,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yep.
Or just a call. Just
Well,
call and ask.
And that's where I was going. I mean, just strike the newspaper and say it's online or on the kiosk.
Yeah, but
But
it's
you're
still,
saying
the
it's
RSA
required.
still requires.
Yeah.
So why don't we clarify that with Laura, I guess?
Yeah, please.
I think if we just say such as, Granite State News, we're probably covered for both, right? Where would you normally put it?
Foster, we used to go to Foster's and to the Granite State.
Granite State.
And what's the charge typically for that?
Why not, $50, $70 in that range.
It's negligible.
But yeah.
Okay, where else through this? That's kind of it. We haven't gone through the appendices yet.
No, for that, at the very least, I'm gonna put all the applications and such on letterhead, town letterhead.
Yep.
I haven't looked at the rest of it yet to see if there's anything else that needs like actual edits.
Yeah, I think, like 3 of the appendices are the notice of public hearing for Foster's, the notice of public hearing for Granite State, and then a generic one. Probably don't need all 3 of those in there.
Right.
But things like the abutter notice, we'd like that to be in there, and that type of thing. Notice of decision. So I think if everybody could just kind of take a glance at those, if you have some thoughts, we'll try to circulate for next meeting, I guess.
I can try. No promises.
I don't think there are going to be a lot of changes, except for the one I got really. Like the verbiage shouldn't change that much.
Did we approve the gravel pit?
Not yet.
Nope, is on our old business coming up on the agenda.
I'll also make sure all the applications have email address on them.
And the 603 number.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to do anything here, I think. If you have any other thoughts or if you have any concerns, let me or Leah know. And hopefully we can get the appendices cleaned up and vote on this next meeting. Yes, Steve?
One question on the application for conditional use, is that 30 days or 60 days?
I'd have to look, I don't know.
Page 13.
Is it, sorry, it's page 13?
Yeah.
Not the appendix.
Are you in the appendix or are you in?
No, not in the appendix. Because it's saying 30 days here, and I had a note here, is it 60 or 30?
Meaning you read it somewhere else and it said 60?
Yeah.
I remember seeing that too at some point, that there was a 30 and a 60 that referred to the same thing. We'll make it whatever the RSA says. Is that fair?
Yeah. I just like consistency.
Yep. And that's for the public notice, you're saying, right? Or for the conditional use permit?
I think you said conditional.
Yeah, and the introduction.
Okay, so I'm double checking the time limit allowed for conditional use permits.
"30 days is public hearing after it's accepted.
Talking about the time it takes to act on the request for a conditional use permit?
I don't think so. I think the application, you're saying the application has to be in, is it page 13? Can you look at my hard copy?
Item 12.4 says hearing must be within 30 days.
Do you have a paragraph number, Steve?
Introduction.
Intro to the whole thing.
As per the Town of Brookfield, New Hampshire zoning ordinance, once this application is filed, the planning board has 30 days to review it for completeness, accept the application, and conduct a public hearing.
Sorry, I'm still missing where you're seeing this.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to that yet. He's on the actual application
On the
for
application.
conditional use.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. So that's a kind of...
As far as edits go, I need Steve. I don't know
Oh,
that yet.
okay, I see.
Well, that doesn't mean I
The
can't
other
make a
part
note of
is-
it to fix it.
The other part was 17 of
Yep.
20, this is street.
Oh, that's the second, yeah. The 13 is on the appendices. Yeah, so we'll pay particular attention to that when we get to that.
Thank you.
And from what I heard, there's a lot of things that have to be done within 30 days. So that whole area might be reviewed.
Yeah.
Within 30 days to accept it, have a hearing, and act on it.
Yeah.
Wait, where does it say 60?
There was somewhere that said 60, and I don't remember where that was.
They have all the dates, the time limits highlighted.
I think if you refer back to the,
Item 12.7, under applications to the planning board, it says 65. Board must act on the application within 65 days.
But it doesn't specify what application?
No,
no, any application.
any application.
Okay.
I think, sorry, Mr. Chairman, 676:4 says 65 days. And that's for the,
That's to act.
that's the CUP, correct?
Yep.
After the application.
What was the time in there?
65.
The 65 days, that was mentioned during the Moose Mountain Lodge issue. event.
So this is saying that you don't have to act on it in the 30 days. You need to, you have 30 days to review it for completeness and accept the application and conduct a public hearing. So that is consistent with 12.4 back here, which says, applications determined to be complete shall be scheduled for public hearing within 30 days of acceptance.
But that's not what you just read, right? There was all three things have to be done within 30 days.
Once the application is filed, planning board has 30 days to review it for completeness, accept it, and conduct a public hearing.
All within 30 days.
That's what it says.
And that has to be reworked.
Right?
This
Doesn't
very
say-
tight timeline has been established
Yeah.
for the benefit of the applicant.
That's gotta be tweaked.
Right.
Okay.
So it should probably just say 30 days to review it,
Period.
and then,
Yes.
then it goes to here, so you have 30 days to have
Yes.
a public hearing.
Yes.
Another 30 days.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that's not what it is. I read it.
Right. All right, well, we'll get to that part. Yep, hopefully by next month. Thank you, Steve, that's good. You're ahead of us, though.
So, and just telling you that I actually read the stuff.
Yeah, Mark?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know if this is the right time, I'm not there, but I wanted to just bring up 2 points that I had put in the comments that I had shared with you the other day.
Yep.
One was in the very beginning, I'm sorry I don't have them in front of me, but on the first page, one of the first sections describes the duties of the planning board.
Right.
In fairly general terms, and as a new person on the board, I was reading that thinking, oh good, this is going to tell me exactly what the board does and doesn't do. But I thought it was a bit unclear. It talks about, subdivision regulations. It talks about, use, changes in use. It talks about changing in the zoning ordinances. But as the board has different sort of roles for those things, as I understand it, and I think it'd be helpful to spell that out more clearly at the beginning. So whoever's reading this knows, well, we don't make the zoning ordinances, but we can recommend changes that ultimately, have to go through the town and get approved by a town vote. But I thought that would help to clarify in each of those, but on the subdivision, as I understand it, we do have the power, the board does have the power to adopt subdivision regulations, is that right?
That's right, yeah. So we added that sentence about the website for what planning boards do. But to your point, it might be clearer, certainly, if we said, planning board is responsible for site plan review, subdivision, and can recommend warrants to change zoning.
So that explains.
Yeah, that's
But I
right.
don't know if
Again,
we would do
yeah, the reference to the website, but yeah, something like that I think would be helpful.
And Marshall's got that flow chart that he's been working on, so we can actually put that in the appendix as well.
Yeah.
That might clarify.
Yeah, okay, great.
Or we just, see the website, see the appendix.
Right.
Yeah, and then the only other comment I wanted to bring up was, I did a couple of training sessions too, and one of them, the lawyers on the panel mentioned that, you know, these RSAs get changed somewhat frequently. And I know there's a lot of cross-references to RSAs, which is good. And I don't want to spend unnecessary money on lawyers, but I wonder, you know, when's the last time a lawyer reviewed the whole thing for accuracy, and do we want to do that again, or do we want our lawyer to look at parts of it once we get farther, closer to finalizing it?
Yeah, I think we should have Laura take a look at it. And, you know, the Stoneham Corners bulletin board's been gone 5 years, so it's been at least 5 years
Yeah,
since this has
okay.
been looked at.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, that was all.
Yep, thank you. So again, we don't have to do anything, there's no vote on this right now, but we'll get some more materials out for next time, and hopefully we can vote on it next time.
And in the meantime, if you guys are going through things and see anything you think should be changed or added or whatever, email it to me and I will make note of it to discuss at the next meeting.
Okay, so I think rules of procedure, but I have on the agenda additional items for discussion, and these are kind of things that came up during training. My understanding is you actually don't have to have public comments on the agenda, but if somebody is there and raises their hand, you do have to acknowledge. I think we should still have public comments on the agenda. If nobody's here, you just blow through it, no big deal, but just so people know you don't have to have that. Minutes, and I thought this was really strange that we actually don't have to approve minutes. You can have draft minutes. They have to be kept forever. You don't have to approve them, but once you do approve them, then you have to put them up on the website. So that's what we do now. It makes more sense anyway. Like, I don't know why you just want draft minutes hanging around and not have real approved minutes, but that's what the RSA says. So I don't think we need to change anything, but just to be aware there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
did they clarify the need to have draft minutes saved, or was it okay just to keep the official record that was accepted?
You need to have the draft available within 5 days. I believe they said you can destroy those once the regular minutes are approved.
Yes.
But I would,
So they did clarify that?
I forget which training it was, but.
The right to know training. didn't
Yeah.
you?
What did I say here? This is 4.17. Oh, just the agenda. It's in our rules of procedure that we shall prepare and issue a meeting agenda. And the agenda is to be posted on the outside bulletin board of the website. We're doing that now.
Yes.
We don't have to post the agenda, but I think, in the interest of clarity, there's no reason not to. It's not a real hassle, right?
No.
You're doing it anyway. It's a matter of printing it and sticking it up on the board.
Was that the one we had to do that within 72 hours or something? Or is that something
We have to post the agenda or get it to you guys within 72 hours. But again, we don't have to provide it to the public.
Yep.
We are doing that now, so I think we can keep that in the rules.
I believe for public input, you can have effectively rules of procedure for the public input. That you're allowed to talk 5, 6, whatever minutes, and then the chair can say, thank you, you're done.
We can put that in the rules. I think the way it's in there now, it basically says if somebody's unruly, you can tell them to cease and desist and yield the floor, or something like that.
Whatever you want, you can specify, this has got to be, it should be in writing. I think that might be the selectmen's rules of procedure, guidelines for public input there. So it's just, we can copy them, we can refer to them, you can make your own up, but you can say this is what's acceptable.
I believe what was said is it'll be set by the chairman. He can go ahead and set a time limit if there is a large public. but there is no definitive statement that you had to publish it. It is at the discretion of the chairman.
But you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
No, if you've got 200 people here, he can set it at 3 minutes. If you've got 5 people here, he can, not go ahead and do that.
I believe it is to be consistent. That's
Okay,
what I
it's
think.
something that can be reviewed, because I don't think it needs to be stated. It's just that the chairman has the option.
It's kind of like how the meeting's going, right? If you're 7 minutes into it, or if you're 70 minutes into it, it might be a different answer.
Yeah,
It probably depends on if it's a hearing or a meeting,
Yeah.
too.
no, that's why the guy was saying, hey, I don't want to stay around until 1 o'clock in the morning, because we've done that before.
And you also don't have to acknowledge non-residents. You can,
You acknowledge that they're
and
there.
non-abutters.
And you can select one person
Yeah.
to say as a group and ask the group, is that sufficient? And go from there.
But the only people that are required to be
Yeah.
able to speak are the abutters, the
Mhm,
applicant, and any engineers or what have you.
mhm.
So the general public cannot comment, just the abutters?
They can. It's, again, it's up to the discretion of the chair or whoever's running the meeting. So we had, in that hearing, we had somebody who lived up on Route 16, nowhere near Moose Mountain. They talked for like 2 minutes and not a big deal. If they went on, and
Right.
it's got to be relevant to what you're talking about.
Terrain,
If they start
yeah.
talking about something else.
Right.
So I think we're good there. Any other questions on rules of procedure? And we'll regroup next time?
All good?
Okay. Next item is Sol Smart solar permitting. Is that you?
It's me. So, Leah sent out to you guys a bunch of info that you probably haven't had a chance to look at yet, which is fine.
10 pages.
It's a lot.
A lot of stuff.
So basically, as I had said last month, so SoulSmart provides free advice to help you get your ordinances in good shape, etc. So we thought that it made sense to just, since we just created that ordinance last year, I believe, why not have experts and get feedback and get information so that we have the best policy, or the smartest, or what works for us, I guess is the point. So I talked to Jeff this morning because he has knowledge of how to install a solar system, for example. And so what was sent out were just sample examples of other towns who have a checklist. And I said to Jeff, on Thursday, there's a Zoom call on it to get more educated on it, and he was very happy and excited to participate, which was good. And I think in terms of our role in this, we can gather the info, we can get input, right? And then we can decide, as I said to him, maybe we don't need a checklist. Maybe we do. But let's figure it out and see if it's helpful or it isn't. And so I think if you would be just so kind to look at that info, at least you understand what's going on. Next month we'll have more info. This thing's going to wrap up within a couple months. And so, again, at the end of the day, we'll either make some changes or we won't. Or we'll improve it or we won't. But I figured it was worth either.
So potentially our solar ordinance might get tweaked a little bit. Potentially we just keep it as is and add a checklist.
Yeah.
And third option, do nothing.
Right.
And how do we get this input?
There's a weekly Zoom, you can get training on it. You can call them anytime. I know the lady who runs it, so it's pretty easy to get feedback and input. They're happy to come talk to us if we wanted to do that at any point.
But they wouldn't look at our zoning, that section.
Oh yeah, they're
Well,
gonna
they
look at it. They've already analyzed the ordinance.
So that's one of the things I emailed to everybody today. It's the PZ1 zoning review. And then it goes through and gives comments and whatnot on various portions of our ordinance. Like in our solar purpose and definitions, it specifically says we should reference specific goals and plans in the purpose section so we can create a stronger foundation for future solar projects. Another portion of it in the definitions, they said, at a minimum, a local government should include definitions that distinguish between solar energy system types, roof mounted versus ground mounted, and use, accessory versus primary, to provide clarity and a foundation on which to specify permissible uses in specific zoning districts and provide development standards. We didn't do all bad. There were some spots that they're saying we're right in line with their best practices, such
So,
as,
Just by way of background for any
yes,
new people, we pretty much took Durham's and took out anything that had anything to do with commercial and adopted most of their guidelines.
okay, so anyway,
So it should be pretty good. And Durham presumably had some good lawyers looking at it. But they didn't have, we don't have commercial, so that's irrelevant. But yeah, so let's plan on trying to look at that for next meeting. Is that what you want us to do?
That didn't come in my email, PZ1.
okay, I will double check that.
I got the stuff from Bristol and Keene.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Marshall,
got that.
Stratford.
okay. I will resend it. Or send it the first time, whatever the case may be.
Okay. New business, just agenda item, I just have down alternates. If anybody knows anybody that wants to be an alternate, it might be good to have an alternate here or there, but maybe just ask around if there's anybody that's interested.
I talked to Phil Emilio before when Stephen was coming on board too, because the two of them had mentioned it.
Yep.
He doesn't want Phil Emilio might be available for alternate, so approach him again.
Okay, not a big deal. We've got a full complement right now, so it's more that, when, I guess in the winter, if you have people that are down south for a period of time or something, it's good to have. Okay, old business, gravel pit inspection report. So Leah sent around the new proposed form, I guess you call it. And it's a little more comprehensive than the one we had, which was pretty thin.
Does anyone need a hard copy? I have one more extra. Okay.
Got it all for it. So we had, on the old one, we had like 4 questions or 5 questions. There are now 17.
Can we put in an 18? Should we have an ETA on closure of the pit?
Closure of the bid?
The
Pit.
pit. So it is required that they submit a reclamation plan
Mhm.
when they apply.
But this is just the inspection report.
Right.
So that way, whoever's going out there will know that, okay, it's still going to be around for a long time.
I don't think
Or
they're-
it's closing in a year.
I don't think they're required to have that.
No, they're not required, just a speculation.
I think, yeah. I don't know if we have an answer. Like, it's probably not something we can require them to come up with.
No. An estimated time, or, swag, scientific wild ass guess.
These questions seem to be pretty in-depth. It almost requires some familiarity with OSHA regulations.
Also, what I did, I took the form that's currently in the ROP, and I found this old excavation checklist inspection report in the planning board files that has,
30 questions.
yeah, it's somewhere between like 27 bullet points. So I took some of those and
Split the
added,
difference.
yeah, kind of combined them a little bit.
So if there's anything here that people don't like, we can strike it or talk about it or whatever.
That was the only thought that I had. That and if we're making a form, always have a date on the bottom as to when the form was created. So
Yes.
any form that we have out there, created on,
Yep.
month and year.
So this form, after it's done, gets sent to the owner, right? Building inspector, and then filed.
Yes.
Selected.
Selected,
When it's completed.
once this is filled out. Right. So do people think this is too much, or?
1 through 17 is, that form would be fine versus, the 2-pager on the other one. I just put in, a swag on when are they thinking it might close. Not, and you could put in optional if you want.
So I don't know who here has done one of these walkthroughs, but, for example, is the excavation damaging a known aquifer? How would you know? Unless there was a stream right there. Yes, Ed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did we ever get a legal analysis of, because we have 2 pits in town that apparently may be grandfathered, may not need a reclamation plan, but I think there's still rules that if they go over the 5 acres and they're going to close, that they have to do something. I don't know if we've ever cleared that up. I've been talking about this for 2 years.
Yep, it's, well, we got kind of sidetracked earlier this year. Laura was looking into it, and I haven't heard back.
It's just important to answer that because people who live next to the pit will wonder why plans are used other places and not here. And if we had that as a planning board somewhere, the opinion, the legal opinion, and an explanation, then you will get,
So Tim had that, right? He got the legal opinion because we went round and round on this.
But I don't think the reclamation plan was required because it was grandfathered.
That's the point that you got clarification on. The pits are too old.
But if they
Right,
do
we
decide
got
to
clar-
close,
Right, we got clarification.
they need to file a reclamation plan within some number of days.
and I believe it's, if they exceed the 5 acres, I believe that's the,
I don't know about the 5 acre part.
whatever that is, I thought it was 5 acres. But, yeah, so,
That's question one is, are more than 5 acres active?
and how we're actually measuring
I
5
was
acres.
going to say,
I mean, you can just look at it and tell, everybody knows, but how
it
we
looks like 5
officially
acres.
do it.
If it was 5.2, I don't think anybody's going to pick up on it, right?
Can we go through these as a group, one by one?
Sure.
Only because some of these questions, like, I don't know how to determine if there's evidence of washout. I don't know what that is. And then the other thing I had a question about was, well, the one that Marshall mentioned, excavation damaging an aquifer, and then another one about standing water here.
Can I take that back for a minute? Thank you.
There's, this time of year, there's likely to be standing water in a lot of, any kind of depressed landscape. So how do you determine that? Things like that.
Yep.
It just seems like an open-ended survey. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to fill that reliably. And, depending on the time of year, we may put things down that may adversely affect the pit owner. So I just think we need to have a standard. So because we're making a judgment on how they're conducting the business.
Yep. The other thing, we have pass and fail for all these answers. We could have an NA, as long as, whoever's doing it doesn't check NA for everything. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have somebody who's a member of the Stratford Regional Planning Commission, who also can connect you to somebody from OSI, and there must be educational opportunities on how to inspect pits. So there'll be consistent action. I would, to speak to Gus's concern, is that you have educational opportunities that the town's paying for that could give you those answers to clarify, what do we do about the aquifer? How do you prove that? I mean, those are good questions. Thank you.
Do you have a contact down there you can reach out to and see if they, before we approve something that's maybe too much or too low?
He knows everybody now.
So lucky.
So, as far as where we stand on the gravel pit, I think we can get something done before we have this. We can use our old form because we are 6 months overdue. I forget who's doing it. You're doing one, you guys?
We're doing Moose Mountain. He's doing Smith.
I'm doing Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have the approval to do that, right? So can we get that by next
Can
meeting?
we do that?
By next meeting? Next meeting?
Regardless of how we respond, you just do it.
I would just take the old form
Okay.
for now, and I think we should clean it up. We just got sidetracked with, hearings and other stuff. So.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll reach out, get back to me. They might have a standard form or something.
Yeah.
Master plan update. That's you too.
So, last meeting, we handed out all these different sections, and we just need to, I think we had agreed that we would just assign people to various categories based on their interests.
Yeah.
So Mark had kindly sent me a quick note, but he's on the phone, so he can articulate what he would like to participate in.
You still there, Mark?
Yes, I am. But Marshall, you'll have to read what I wrote you. I know just 3 categories. I mean,
Yes.
I don't have strong feeling, but I gave you a couple that I'm happy to do if nobody else picked them, or
Natural resources, community, and character and appearance, and what was the third one?
transportation, maybe?
Yeah, infrastructure.
Infrastructure, yeah.
Just so everybody knows, the only 2 things that are required in the master plan are the vision and the land use piece. Everything else is optional. And nothing in the master plan can be used to approve or deny an application. You can say it's consistent with the master plan, it's not consistent with the master plan, but it's not a regulatory document. It's an aspirational document.
Yep.
So as long as vision and land use are there, I think we're good. There's certainly some things changing at the state level that may be inconsistent with our master plan. Some of that stuff you sent around, Leanne.
Yes.
I forget what House bill, but there's a House bill that says it's mandatory to have manufactured housing if somebody wants it. I haven't read the master plan very recently, but I think that's probably not consistent with our master plan, as an example. So some things would be out of our control, but I'd be happy to take a look at just do the first section. I'll do the vision and summary if you want.
Now, what's the process?
We're each going to take a section here and take a look at what we have and edit, propose edits, and then we'll all look at it.
Not create new ones,
No.
Unless we decide to create them.
because we talked to conservation, Frank is enthusiastic about fertilizing data.
Right. And we should encourage them to do that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can talk to Brad about natural hazards.
Well, and the other thing is, just because you're assigned one doesn't mean you can't ask other people to help you out,
Yeah.
right? That's the whole point of getting the public involved. And I think there's also value in looking at other towns' master plans, right, for the category you're in. And it might give you some insight into either things that we haven't thought of doing, right, which is part of the exercise, and then reviewing what we have.
And the planning commission had some thoughts, right? Or have they not looked at it yet?
I have not engaged them yet,
But
till
that's-
I know what I want them to do.
Yep.
And so we should obviously do as much as we can, and then we can decide what to do with that.
I think you should have Jan do the executive summary. She's really good at those.
Well, you haven't seen my executive summary, you haven't seen Ed's
No,
executive
I
summary.
haven't.
But, you know, my bride's all right.
Do you want people to volunteer, or we just?
Yes, I
decide?
would appreciate that. Steve, what do you think? If anything, on this,
Not thinking right now. I don't know. I'll sign something. I looked down through them and it's like,
well, I
Okay,
think, quite
I think it's
honestly, I think we have the historic, I think we've got that nailed pretty much.
I
mean,
probably
we
would change
have-
much to it.
Yeah, I don't think.
Just put it in the appendix.
Well,
Page two.
Exactly. Population and growth, I can get that data from the FRPC, if we have the latest data.
Do you want me to ask Mary Lou if there's anything she wants to add to
Oh,
the historic resources?
Of course, we can ask her. Sure.
Okay.
No harm.
Okay.
Absolutely. Land use is the big boulder in the room, isn't it? Because that covers
A lot.
a lot, right? Like all the ordinances, pretty much, right? Even though it's not changing any of the ordinances, it's...
Well, transportation should be pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we could just get, Chris or somebody to tell us how many miles of road we have and how many miles the state takes care of.
Well, and he's gonna have this
It's kind of-
data also on, the road assessment.
Yeah, because we got that from SRPC, right?
Exactly, so, that, whether we have a special transportation or we fold that into infrastructure, I don't care.
We probably should, just because we don't have a bus, train, plane.
Yeah, right, exactly. Or any
Not
other-
yet.
On land use, shouldn't we work with the state? I don't know what department it is, but they're the ones who sort of look at water runoff going into rivers and things like that. Is that considered land use?
That'd be DES. I think.
I think that's natural resources.
Or natural resources?
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I had
Under land
broadband
use,
in
it
two
says noise
places.
pollution. So,
I've got the scenic road data, so I can break that up.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I think it's just really a matter of looking at what is in there now and seeing if we need to add more to it and update it. Most of these sections are in there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
If not all, I'm not sure. But Leah, you said you'd take natural hazards and
yeah.
get somebody
Yeah.
to apply on that.
Who were you
Hey,
thinking?
folks, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to sign off. I'm just arriving at the airport. Will you send an email with the sections that everyone has, or?
Sure.
Yes,
Yep.
I can do that.
That would be great. Thank you.
Right.
Sorry to get something up.
Safe travels. Have a safe trip, mate.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Leah, who were you gonna talk to?
Our emergency manager, Brad Williamson.
And who should have community facility? That's basically just a town hall for a shelter, etc. I don't know, whatever.
Well,
Or is that
there
related
should be something
to
in the town report on that stuff, right?
Is the
And I would-
historic thing doing that, or?
Well, I was looking at the categories.
Yeah,
Do we want to somehow?
combine something.
Yes.
Absolutely. I was waiting for somebody to say that besides me.
Because we have the right, infrastructure is almost the same as transportation, or do away with transportation.
Yeah, just fold that right
Yeah,
into
we'll
it.
get rid of that. Or we'll look at what's in there, I
And
guess.
then fold it someplace.
But who's, okay, so that's going to infrastructure maybe?
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, because broadband, which is up there, land use, we could move that, right? I mean, I just threw a bunch of stuff in there.
Take it out of land use, right?
Yeah.
And then,
What about housing?
yeah,
Housing and land use, I think, are going to be significantly affected by these bills that are being considered right
Mhm.
now, at the state level.
That's an understatement.
Well, we
Yeah.
won't have a job pretty soon, right? Because aren't they going to get disbanded all local planning
Pretty
committees,
close to, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
One less thing to worry
Well-
about.
We'll see. They didn't vote yet.
so I guess, do we roll housing into land use or keep it separate? Personally, I think we should keep it separate because it's a big topic now
Yep.
in Concord. But it's tied into economic development as well.
I just keep it on its own, because if it's a small section, it's a small section.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, we don't have any plans for economic development really, right? There's no commercial zoning at all. There could be, potentially, in one or two places.
One or two places. Well, again, with the master plan, we could say that's one of the goals, is to develop or define and develop that. That would be other,
Where would those be? Where would the commercial areas eligible for development be?
Where would they be?
Yeah.
One's down the end of Governor's, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
you're across from the Mason and where,
that road, I mean,
Down before you get to Wakefield.
the industrial park, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
that Wakefield's got one, right? So maybe we should consider abutting it, but that area, you have access to Route 16. Power, you have power close, maybe not enough, but there's power close.
yeah.
There's open land, so it's not already developed.
And it's mostly an old sand pit too, right? So it's,
No.
There's something on the corner of 16 and Governor.
Yeah, the landfill stuff, right?
Yeah.
if you go in that back way to the dock guy, there's all kinds of sand in there.
Say it again?
If you go in the back way
Two?
to where that dock guy is, on
Oh,
16,
yes.
that's like an old sand pit, right?
That is the Wakefield Industrial Park.
Yeah.
Oh, where Kroll's is, or right after Kroll's.
Talking about before that, this is near, where you know where Bobby Lynam's office is?
Yes, that's Wakefield.
Yeah, oh, that's what, town of Wakefield?
That's
So you would be on the border there.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that would be an example of economic development.
That's right.
Are there any other sections you think we should create that aren't here?
Well, that's why I put noise pollution, dark sky, climate change impacts, neighborhood plan, parks, I mean, I don't know. At one point, were we talking about having a park?
Yes, there was a
Back in the day.
Parks and Rec Department thing set up in 2011 that never went anywhere.
Whatever.
Out back.
Yeah. It comes and goes, right? You get volunteers who are interested.
Right.
Well, why don't we just take a crack at whatever section you think you can take a crack at, that we've signed up for. I think I only signed up for vision, but I'll do that in the next meeting.
Cool.
Not be accurate.
What did
And-
you take?
First one, vision and summary.
Oh, okay.
I think the easiest thing to do is just grab the old one
Well, yeah,
and see what's in there, and see if it needs updating. And think about what is not in there that should be in there.
And look at other towns,
Yep.
get some great ideas, you can almost lift some ideas from.
Ask AI.
Hmm?
Ask AI.
You're exactly right.
Can you write me a vision for the town?
so Gus, anything of interest to you?
Well, I was thinking community character and appearance, but it looks like that's covered. So maybe land use and housing.
Okay.
We don't have to do them all either. We can do
Right.
this thing in sections.
Yeah. So which one do you want to do first? Housing? Because it's quicker and easier.
Sure. Thank you. Why don't we keep it simple and have everybody just take one for now? Because I think SRPC is on like 4 of these. So pick one, Marshall, and you can do.
Well, the population and growth, I'll do that, because that's SRPC stuff. Frank Frazier certainly can do if Mark wants to help with him on natural resources. So Frank's got that one. Historic, Mary Lou, Leah can check, but
That's been reviewed already.
Land use.
Maybe we should all tackle that one since it's the biggest category here.
Sounds fair.
Do that. And then transportation's history, community facilities, I don't think we're assigning that yet, right? We have everybody assigned. Steve, what do you want to be assigned to?
Oh, I don't know, either land use or natural hazards, I guess.
Okay.
Well, you're going to talk to Brad about natural hazards. So you want to take land use then?
Huh?
She's going to talk to Brad about the emergency response stuff.
Okay.
We can work
Yeah, I think
together
that-
on it too.
I think land use could almost be split into two. You got noise pollution, dark sky, climate changes. It's almost describing the environment. And then the other part of that is the physical parks and recreation.
So, yeah, it's kind of like what we have, and then
And then what we
how are we going
want
to take care of this longer term?
is the thought. So I had scenic roads. That was straightforward. We'll get that documented.
Okay.
Yep.
Did anybody pick infrastructure?
Hmm?
Oh, I put Chris Kindle, because he can do the roads and the bridges and the street maps. Now broadband, that's another piece, but
Did anyone take community facilities?
no.
No.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
You gonna try it?
Sure.
And what's your vision here? To come back
So
in a month or two with a paragraph about your section?
Well, I think we should try in a month to at least have something that we can at least say, I looked at it, here's the 5 things I think, or whatever it might be, or gee, I was reading something about this other town that we might consider.
And a paragraph, or bullet points, or a table with some explanation,
Yeah.
anything goes, right, for now?
Yeah.
So these are things that we think that might help improve the town, we can add.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's sort of a brainstorm.
It's like, what do you want to, I mean, this is like 20 years.
The vision for the
Yeah.
future.
Right.
Oh, access to Kingswood?
Speed bumps on 109.
Ooh,
That's
And the
another.
people that get
Spike
tickets
strips.
over there.
I would hate that. We have those at the high school. If you go more than 1 mile an hour, man, that thing is gonna bottom you out. It's dangerous.
All right, I think we're.
So that's a good
I
start.
think we're good there. Let's just go with what we have. And training, we're gonna have training. Did you have something on training?
Well,
This is
there was a list. There was a list of trainings, right? And some of us have gone to a number of these things, but we haven't shared anything about what we've learned. Or to some degree, we mentioned some things that I even thought of as I listened to it. Those were some of the high points of, wow, that's kind of surprising. You know, it's like, who didn't know that? So, I think what we'll have to do is set up like a monthly, who's going to do training next month, and whatever that might be. Oh, I know. There's that quiz. You took the quiz and you passed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a pre-test quiz.
Mhm.
It's on the
Have you
Office
guys
of Planning
ever
and
even
Development.
seen what we're talking about? I heard about it and I remember seeing it from looking at something. So maybe what we should do, in the spirit of training, and Steve, since you're the professor, why don't we, Leah, I would recommend that maybe Leah sends out the pre-test. We all try to take the pre-test, and we come next month and we talk about the pre-test. Right? And we'll learn, I guarantee you, we'll learn something.
Steve's exempted. Steve's exempted, he already got the
He's done it.
certificate.
Well, then he doesn't have to, obviously.
What we could do is come in with a pretest, and I think it's only 21 questions, and I could read them and find out who
Knows the answers.
says what.
Yeah, we could do that, if you wouldn't mind being the monitor of that. But if you send it out, we'll all take the quiz.
Yes.
But then you don't want the
And then
answers.
we'll take the real test or whatever, and we'll probably learn some more stuff.
Yeah. The real test is quite a bit different from the pretest.
Well, the fact that you passed it and you haven't been involved in this stuff is pretty impressive, so I applaud you.
Well, I read down through everything, but I took the first 2 sentences out of each paragraph. And that's pretty much what I was retaining. And, you know, as you go down through all the RSAs and such.
Oh, I see. Sounds hard.
Sounds boring, it was. Interesting.
But you learn stuff, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Even the ones I missed on.
Okay.
Well, I think we're in a lot better shape than we were, let's say, 3 years ago.
Yes. Absolutely. So we've had no requests for any activity for anything at this point?
No.
Right? We're up to date on everything. Yeah. Good. So that's all I had on training.
Okay. Any other member comments?
Now, I wonder if we should critique this Moose Mountain activity, what we did right, what we did wrong. I mean, we got bit on some things because we didn't follow some of the rules. It'd be good to share that information.
Yes. Yes. And if we do the 2 tests, we'll do that.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. I think we should do that after the fact. But just one thing that I was going to say this in member comments. There is a lawsuit against the town for Moose Mountain that's ongoing. Nothing's happening right now. There's a hearing on June 25th,
Yes.
and that's kind of all I know about it.
But they're effectively saying we didn't follow our rules of procedure in state law. That's the crux of it.
And that's the truth.
So,
So that's that. But I think maybe we wait till after that to critique.
sure, because we'll have better data.
And hopefully a ruling from the judge or whatever. Okay, any other member comments?
Did you want to talk about the?
Oh, yeah,
chart?
Marshall, sorry.
Marshall, sorry,
Slow chart.
not trying to.
Yes, sir.
You're meeting again.
This chart? Is this thing you want to talk about?
Yeah. We want to add that to the rules of procedure
Right,
eventually.
right. So did we all agree that that was the process? So if someone comes into the town clerk and says, gee, I got a situation, what do I do? Where do I go? Who do I meet?
Yep, I think that's it.
Right? So I would think, and again, you guys have to look at this, maybe I have something wrong in here, or maybe I missed something on the overview of what each of these departments do, with groups or whatever. So let's make sure that those are correct. So we're not missing anything, I don't know.
I would change SBO to BOS, Board of Select.
Yeah.
Ah. Oh, you mean SOBs, not good?
SBO.
Did we ever ask the town clerk as to what questions she's being hit with?
No, we didn't.
Actually, she said, I asked her, and she said, she goes, the biggest challenge is, a lot of times people don't know what to do, so I send them to the website, and they can't find it, so then what do they do?
Could we ask her to write down some questions that she normally has? And then we can fill in the answers. And also indicate they can go to the website to find out more information, but the quick and dirty, frequently asked questions. And Charity has a laminated new sheet.
Well, and I also think we should, if we're gonna ask them to write something up before they come in front of the select board, for example, we should have some kind of form, rather than just, write something up. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, but if
You
we
mean
could-
kind of like,
if we could coach them a little on what to write.
We're working on that form to be on the agenda.
like an appear on the agenda
If you want to
form,
be
is
on
that
the
what-
agenda, then
Right.
we need extra
Right,
pieces of data.
right,
Like, what we say, 72 hours in advance, so I have a chance to.
yes.
Yeah.
Friday before the meeting.
So that conceptual consultation and the training, they describe that as a back of the napkin. So I think we want a little more than that.
Well, little cheat sheet and
Yeah.
little chit.
Well, and I assume it's pretty straightforward, right? There's 4 or 5 common things that people come to ask for, right?
Not necessarily.
We get the tough ones like, are we allowed to do this? It's a common question. And we've been making mistakes, to be honest with you, by answering that question
Prior to.
as an individual.
Right.
So what we've said, you've got to bring those questions to the total board, and then the board will make a call as to whether we think you're allowed to do that. Is this a home-based business? Will you let me do this? We should discuss that in public, and that's what we're saying, that's what we're setting up.
Got it.
So this is planning board.
Yes, I'll go to selectmen, and
Yeah.
then we'll send them to somebody. You've got to go to the ZBA, you have to go to the planning board, or we think our zoning allows you to do that. But that's the board's decision, not an individual's decision.
Yeah.
But Leo will get calls like that a lot. Am I allowed to do this?
So you guys should have something like this then too, right?
Yes, and that's what we're working on.
Yeah.
We agree. And what we'll get is we get people come in the night of the meeting and drop the bomb. And we haven't had a chance to think about it.
Right.
So we want that
Right.
heads up.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody comes in and talks with the clerk, they can fill out the little form. They can take the form and put it in your box. And that will be, how they go ahead and submitted it to you.
No, that's not what we're
Or to the
saying.
meeting.
We're not saying to do that, we're saying to give it to Leah so we can look at it first. No, we don't want it dropped in the box, we want it,
So you gotta say everybody needs to have a computer.
pardon me?
No, we can still have some forms
Yeah.
around for people to just fill out if they want to.
Yeah, we want a form, but we
Yeah.
want it handed to Leah.
That's
and
all.
drop it in the
Okay,
box.
so put it in Leah's box.
Yes.
That's at least, yeah, fine.
To very quickly put that together, so there's a flow chart of what application they have to fill out or what questions there would be. We know what the applications are, so basically go to the AI and ask it to look at our applications and then come up with specific questions that people would ask to do certain things. Because if somebody needs a sign, what do they have to do? It's going to know that, so you can have it make the directions on where to go, and then put that in paperwork. You'll cover every single instance.
It'd be hard to do that for all conditions up front, though. It's almost like when something happens, then you could ask it.
You can do that too, but if you want to put this, the board secretary of OSPI gets all these questions. She knows already when people say, what do I do? I want to put a sign up, what do I do? Or I have a garage, I want to go, what permits do I need? All those simple questions, they're all related to the application. So she knows this already, so she knows that she has the authority to go tell them what to do. Or if they have any questions, come to the board. I'm just saying, use the AI to create the form so it could be issued to the department, so you know if somebody comes in and asks us a specific question, there has to be an application for what they're asking for. So it could come up with those exact avenues.
I see, yeah, now I understand what you're saying.
So AI can do this.
Right, AI could,
Oh, 1 second.
Like, it took 5 seconds, I just texted you the comparison between the RSAs and the rules of procedure. And in 5 seconds, it gave me a bullet point of where you're weak and where you're not so weak. And you're basically a little more strict than what the RSAs say, but it's specifically compared to them in 5 seconds. So you could easily use the AI to come up with that form and not, so when somebody comes in, you're going to be able to follow that path.
right?
I think you know what I mean, right?
Yes. It's a good idea.
It's just quick.
Maybe we can do that in going through these applications.
Instead of having a thought experiment that's now going to take, a month. What if somebody comes in, what do I do? Let's write it down. What do I do? Just,
Yeah, it's good input.
All right. This is where, you have this somewhere.
Yes, I do.
I think I sent a version out after Marcia
Yes,
sent
I
this
think
out.
you did. There was some typos or something, yeah.
So maybe
I
can you
probably have it.
find that? Or
I found
try to
his
find it?
faster result.
It was right after it, he said it and I said it a week later. So maybe just resend that around along with this other stuff you're sending. And actually, I'll find it. I'll get it. I'll resend another one changing, SBO to BOS. I'll get it. Okay. Any other member comments? All right. It is, where's my time? 7:19. Call meeting closed. Next meeting, June 9th, 6 p.m. Adjournment.
Wait,